Hi, you're listening to Small Business Small Talk, powered by Hibu. Hi, I'm Ian Messenger with my co-host Lauren Blackford.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Small Business Small Talk, powered by Hibu. Today, we're talking with Gretchen Ast, one of Hibu's digital product managers, about the evolution of SEO. Gretchen, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do at Hibu and, how you wound up here and what your roles and responsibilities are in your kind of day-to-day life?
Yeah, no problem. So I've been at Hibu now for just over 2.5 years. And the primary focus of what I do is search engine optimization and working on our search engine products, as well as our other digital marketing products as well. So really trying to help small businesses show up online.
So to dive right in, because I feel like probably some ears perked up when we said SEO. And this is probably something I'll come back to a few times. SEO is not new. I mean, it has been a buzzword within digital marketing for easily a decade at this point. And there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot of, facts and fictions and a lot of things that change frequently. So to kind of kick it off at that point, let's just dive right in with, what SEO is, what it isn't, kind of where it stands today.
Yeah, absolutely. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. So essentially what that means, because when I tell my mom what I do, she just says, I don't know, I just tell everybody you do something with computers. Essentially what SEO is and what it does is it helps businesses show up in search results on Google, right? That's really where we want to be. We want when somebody goes and say they're searching for a plumber in their area, you want your business to show up as an option for them to click on and hopefully do business with you. So that's essentially what SEO is going to help you with.
Now, is that specifically for their website or does that extend beyond?
That's a great question. So SEO is for their website, but it does extend beyond that. So on your website, you want to have a well-optimized site so that Google knows what your business is about. It knows when to show people your website so that it's showing them relevant results, right? We all hate it when we go to Google and we search something and you see a whole bunch of things that are completely irrelevant to what you're searching. But then there are other factors that take place off of your website that are going to help you show up in search results as well.
And that's kind of the traditional role of SEO is it's all about getting further up in the search results and more visibility essentially, which is huge. I mean, when's the last time you found a local business on page 7 of the search results? It just doesn't happen. But as SEO has kind of evolved over the years, keep me honest here. It seems like today there's more of a focus on or more of an understanding that just showing up higher isn't really a goal in and of itself. It's kind of a means to an end. So how is SEO kind of evolving from just a tool to increase your visibility to a tool to increase your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So SEO has evolved so much. I've been in the SEO space since 2010. So in the past decade, we have seen so much change with SEO. And essentially, yes, you want your business to show up higher in search results because when you have more visibility, there's a greater likelihood that people are going to click on you. They're going to find your website and they're going to do business with you. And that's essentially what SEO is designed to do and what our local ranking product is designed to do. We want to help generate more relevant leads for your business. so that you can do more and you can maximize doing that business, and we'll take care of helping you get found.
That's so great, because we hear from our clients all the time, that's great that you can get me on Google, but how do you get me more customers? That seems to be the goal. And you mentioned local ranking. So talk to us a little bit about what that local ranking product is and how you formulated it here at Hibu.
Yeah, absolutely. So local ranking isn't just, going to your site and making a few updates to make sure that Google knows what your business is about. Local ranking really works with your online presence, right? Your listings, your reviews, your reputation, your social media presence, and really works with all of those to help you get found. We know that people are searching differently today. We also know that more than 50% of users who do a search on Google aren't leaving Google to do business with you. They're seeing the results on Google, they're getting enough information from there, and then they're making a call to that business or clicking, contact us and filling out a form. So we really want to make sure that your business is going to be showing up on all of those places. Voice search is another huge thing that's been happening, and that's just been evolving more and more as people get more smart devices like Google Home, Alexa, any of those, even Siri. When we say, "Hey Siri, find me a plumber in my area," we want to help make sure that you're able to come back in those results as well for your local area.
It's interesting that you talk about both voice search and some of those other sections of the search results, because I think for most consumers and probably most small businesses, we all Google things every day, and unless you're looking at it with a real eagle eye, you probably look at those results and just go, yeah, those are all search results. But really, when you kind of dissect the anatomy of that page, you have all those different sections that SEO can impact. A lot of opportunities to show up, and a lot of opportunities to, this will sound pessimistic, but be disappointed. I mean, if you're only showing up in the map, you're probably going to go, well, that's nice, but I want to show up in the organic results, and I want to show up in one of the, the knowledge cards, and I want to show up in the answers box. So there's a lot of different areas where SEO can impact your visibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And, with local ranking, we want to help you account for all of those things by doing things like adding FAQs that are voice search ready and optimized to your site. That not only helps you show up in voice search results, but actually if you do a search on Google, you're eligible to have your FAQs returned in those search results. So, when somebody's saying, hey, I need help with this problem I'm having, and you're the business that's giving them the answer that they need, the chance of them doing business with you is that much higher. We're also going to be posting to your Google My Business page. And so again, this helps keep your content relevant. It helps people see, oh, they're engaged. They're taking care of their online reputation. They want to make sure I know what's happening at their business now, which is a great signal for Google as well. But it's a greater signal to your consumers. They want to know that your information is updated, it's relevant, that it's not just something that you posted once and then it's done.
So it's interesting, going back to the FAQs you discussed. So it's like you are creating these for multiple audiences. Not only are they optimized for the voice search, so that voice search will pick up on those keywords in the FAQs, but also if a consumer is searching the question that you're answering, it's going to show up in the traditional search. So you're hitting all kinds of different consumers and the way that they search with just this one optimization within local ranking.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really amazing to see all of the different ways that these elements all work together to increase that presence on Google. It really helps you dominate those search results. You never know what's going to be the most important for a consumer when they're doing their research. So you really want to give them as many opportunities to provide the information that they're looking for, so that, again, you want them to click that call button or fill out that form so that they're going to do business with you.
You're listening to Small Business Small Talk, powered by Hibu. Hibu is the country's leading provider of synchronized digital marketing for small businesses, delivering more visibility, more visitors, more leads, and more customers. Visit us today at hibu.com, Hibu, hibu.com.
And we're back with Gretchen Ast talking about small business SEO.
So Gretchen, you talk about the things that Google looks for to serve up your site or your business in search engine results. What are the things that businesses need to optimize their site for, or what are the things that local ranking optimizes businesses' sites for, so that Google will serve them up higher in the search engine results?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and one that I think most businesses want to know the answer to. We have been hearing for the past several years that content is king when it comes to SEO, and that really hasn't changed. You want quality content on your site, and you want to make sure that the keywords that people enter when they're looking for a business like yours are incorporated into your site as well in a natural way that flows, that's going to be relevant to what they're searching for. So really, content is still king. That hasn't changed. But we also see that the off-page ranking factors are pretty much just as relevant now as the content that you're posting on your site itself. And backlinks, a lot of people may not know what exactly we mean by that. Essentially, if another website links back to your business's website, that's what we call a backlink. So you want to be providing quality content on your site that allows other businesses, other URLs to say, hey, they're posting about something that's relevant. Let me link back to them. And that's going to be a huge indicator to Google and other search engines that, hey, this business is about this, it's relevant to what this person is searching for. And a lot of people are noticing that and saying, hey, it's relevant. Hey, it's quality content. And that's going to be a huge, huge indicator for them.
Right. It's almost like a recommendation,
It
it's
is.
kind of like, word of mouth by way of, links.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Now you mentioned, just because I agree, I think a lot of small businesses out there, kind of want to know what are the specific things I need to focus on. And they've probably heard over the years a lot of jargon and terminology. You mentioned off-page SEO, and I just wanted to take a quick step back and kind of talk about the two different types of SEO, which are pretty self-explanatory. But if you could enlighten us a little bit, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So off-page SEO is really everything that is going to be taking place off of your website that increases the possibility of your business showing when consumers are searching for a business like yours. And we want to make sure that we're hitting that for you guys as well. This is something that for a long time, it was kind of like a secondary strategy, something that people didn't really focus on as much. It was like, get your on-site optimization completed. If you have time to focus on your off-page optimization, that's great. But we're seeing that this is just as relevant as getting on-site optimization done. On-site or on-page optimization, you can use those terms pretty interchangeably there. that's going to be anything you do on your website, updating the content to incorporate your keywords, updating the title tags on your website, making sure that that URL string is relevant to what that page is about, updating your alt tags, updating your schema so that Google can more easily read all of those elements that your business is about and know when it's relevant to return your website and search results. All of those things would be considered on page.
And on page is interesting because I feel like those items you just listed are both how do I want to say this? You could take a deep dive into any one of those, and that's really where you get into some of the bad recommendations for SEO. Well, I heard you should put a list of, hundreds of keywords on your site, but make it the same color as the background. So no one sees it, but the search engine. And it's also, I think, traditionally kind of where, folks have put all their eggs in that basket. Well, I updated my title tags and I added alt tags. How come I'm not on page one? So it's really, to your point, off page, moving out of that kind of secondary, if I have time, realm is really where you're going to see movement.
Yeah, absolutely. And you bring up a good point. One of the things that we want to keep in mind is that SEO changes constantly. What we're doing today is going to be different than what we do 6 months from now to stay relevant on search engines. And so a lot of the things that you pointed out, I remember when I first, got started in this industry, that's exactly what people were doing. They were keyword stuffing. They were putting it on their site, but changing it. That is not what you want to do today. There are, lots of updates to that. There are character maxes for, title tags and your meta description and things like that. And you want to make sure that whatever Google says, hey, this is what we look for, and these are our recommendations, you want to stay within those because they're the people that you want to make sure show you. So we want to make sure we update that. And the other thing to keep in mind with backlinks becoming more relevant is it's a really time-consuming process to go out there and try to get backlinks to your site. You really need to establish relationships with lots of different publishers and let them know, hey, I've got this content that might be relevant to an article you might write about. And that's a full-time job at least. So you really want to have somebody help you with that already has those established connections that will help get your site out there onto relevant publishers that can link back to your site. So you're not just going it alone.
Right. If you said to me today, go get a backlink, I wouldn't know where to begin. I wouldn't know who to reach out to, what to say to them.
So that brings up an interesting point, Gretchen, because you're talking about keeping the content relevant and fresh, forming these relationships to continually get backlinks to improve your SEO. So it sounds like SEO and local ranking, it's not a set it and forget it. It's not a one-time thing. It sounds like something that needs to be continually massaged and worked on and improved.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the biggest mistakes we see when we're working with businesses, they might come to us and say, hey, we don't know what happened. We were ranking in the #1 position on Google. And so we said, okay, we're done. We stopped doing SEO. We started focusing on other things. And now nobody can find us. And we're like, well, yeah, because you have to keep feeding it. You can't just, as you said, set it and forget it. It's an ongoing strategy. If you're in the #1 position today, you're going to have to keep optimizing your site, creating backlinks to your site in order to stay in that position. So you certainly don't want to say, okay, I'm in #1, I'm just going to stay there. People are constantly trying to vie for those positions. So you're going to need to make sure that you're doing your best to stay where you want to be as well.
It's like a muscle that continuously needs to be trained. If you stop working it, it stops working.
Yep.
And it's funny because we always, when you're talking about SEO, you're talking about organic, non-paid search results. And I think it's very easy for us to say, well, SEO is organic and paid is paid, but it's really no different than, if you stop running your ads, the phone stops ringing as much. It shouldn't be a mystery that once you stop paying for SEO, your ranking starts to drop. It's just that's the nature of it.
Yeah, that's a really great point. It's a great way to look at it. We know if we're running Google ads, for example, and you no longer decide to run them, you're not going to show. I mean, it's really that simple. With organic, it's not an immediate difference. Mm-hmm. It's not going to, the day that you stop doing SEO, you're not going to fall off of search engine results. It'll happen slowly over time. And that's actually a really great point when we talk about, paid search and we talk about SEO. There's a huge difference here that you just pointed out, and that's really SEO is something that takes time to build, right? When you decide to start your local ranking campaign, your site's going to get optimized, backlinks are going to start getting generated, but you're not going to see that immediate difference on search engine results. It's going to take some time to get there. Meanwhile, if you decide to do a paid search campaign instead, you'll be able to show immediately. The biggest difference there is really the price that you have to pay to get there, right? So we always recommend doing both of those things together. Do your paid search, start showing up immediately, build your local ranking campaign so that you start showing up organically as well. And then you can start to strategize. All right, I'm showing up really well organically. Maybe I'm going to pull back a little bit and focus a little bit more on SEO. But you have this great opportunity to dominate these search engine results when you're showing up for both paid and organic.
Great point. Whenever I do a Google search, I always feel more confident in a business when I see them show up in that top paid block, and then I see them show up first in that organic block. I'm like, okay, they're definitely relevant to what I'm looking for. So let's click on that website.
They're willing to pay for those keywords that you just entered into Google, right? And they're also making sure their site is optimized. So you do feel much more confident clicking through to that and assuming that they're going to be able to give you whatever it is that you need in that moment.
You're listening to Small Business Small Talk, powered by Hibu. Hibu is the country's leading provider of synchronized digital marketing for small businesses, delivering more visibility, more visitors, more leads, and more customers. Visit us today at hibu.com, Hibu, hibu.com.
We're back again with Hibu's Gretchen Ast, talking about small business SEO. So we've talked a few times, or we've mentioned a few times the term local ranking, which is Hibu's new product. And if you could just talk a little bit about what makes local ranking kind of that next stage of SEO, that next flavor of SEO beyond just what we've seen before.
We touched on it earlier on some of the elements that really make local ranking a different product from the traditional SEO products. One of those is helping consumers show up more in voice search results, which we know is just taking off. Every year, the number of people that have a voice-ready device in their homes increases and the number of voice searches increase. We know that most consumers are doing a voice search almost every day. So we really want to make sure that however consumers are searching, you're going to be showing up. The other trend that those of us in the SEO world have noticed over the past couple of years is the fact that it's not enough just to have your website show that in search results. That doesn't guarantee that someone's necessarily going to your website. right? That's the ultimate goal. You want to show up, they click on your website, they read about you, they go, oh yeah, that's great. But Google has done so much in recent years to try to give consumers the information that they're looking for right there. So local ranking is also going to help you by making sure that that consumer can find that information about your business right on Google itself. So if they're one of those people that's not likely to click off to your website, hopefully you're able to give them the information that they need, and they're still going to click to call right from Google. And then we're also able, with the local ranking product, to capture those leads, to be able to tell you, hey, maybe they didn't click through to your website, but they saw you in those results, and then they called you, and we're able to track that and provide that information to you as well. So local ranking is really trying to just make sure that however consumers are searching, you're going to show up. Another thing that it does is it works with our listings and reviews products to make sure that the information that's on your listings that are out there on the internet, including Google and Google My Business, is relevant and up to date. And when people see that you have a lot of good reviews in your results, they tend to click. I know when I was looking for a painter for my house, that's one of the first things that I'm going to do. If I see the search results and I go, okay, yeah, they have a 5, but it's only 1 review. But then here's another business, they're a 4.7, but they've had 250 reviews.
Sure.
I'm likely to click through, kind of browse those reviews. Okay, they're saying good things. Nothing here is a deal breaker. And I'm going to contact that business. So local ranking really integrates with all of that. And as the name says, the focus is on local. We want to make sure that you're showing up where you're doing business, whether you're a brick and mortar business or you're a service area business. We want to make sure that you're showing up in your local market.
It's interesting that you mentioned, how it integrates with listings and reviews, and we've talked already about, how it's different from paid ads, whether that's pay-per-click text ads, display ads, ads running on social, and it's interesting because it's both, or I should say, local ranking is both, a kind of a new offering from us, but it's also in some ways that core thing that businesses are looking for when they think about online marketing. Like they may have ads on Facebook and they may have text ads on Google, and yeah, they've got their reviews up, and maybe they're lucky enough to have, those 240 odd reviews and a really great rating. But I can just hear small business owners going, yeah, but I'm not showing up on Google. So this finally ties all of that together and gives them a strategy to say, well, now you will, now you can.
Exactly. Essentially, local ranking is this, core foundation element. It's SEO, right? And SEO has been there for many years. It's not going away, but it's really leveraging this evolution that we've seen, not just with search engine optimization, but with how all of these digital marketing elements work together to help consumers want to do business with you. I mean, that's really the bottom line. It's integrating everything and helping you understand how you're getting found and increasing your chances of getting found when a consumer needs your service.
It's really the next level of SEO. And it's really great. You mentioned that if somebody clicks to call from Google, we can track that with local ranking. So not only are we tracking your ranking with this product, but also the leads, which is, as we talked about before, is something that, businesses are really looking for. It's fine that they're found on Google, but they really need, those feet walking in the door, those phone calls, coming in. So it's great that we can show them, the calls that are coming in.
Yeah. And now more than ever, online and digital is so important. We have a lot of businesses that are conducting more business online than ever before. We have contractors that can provide virtual estimates. And so you really want to make sure that customers know that about your business. they are able to find you online, because you're not going to be seeing, as you said, as many people walking through the door, right? They're going to at least start online more than ever before now. And we want to really make sure that you're leveraging that to the best of your ability.
It's really kind of an end-to-end view. I think I mentioned at the top of this that, folks tend to look at showing up on Google as the end game until they get there. And then it's, well, I'm showing up, but I'm not getting anything out of it. And this really gives us the ability to say, listen, we can take you from page 6 to page 1. And Lauren, to your point, really prove to you that increased visibility is now driving an increase in leads and hopefully business for you as well. So it's not just about kind of the window dressing of, well, I want to be on page 1 because I think that's a benefit. We can really prove out, what that's doing for your business.
Yeah. And one other thing to mention with that, I know we touched on this before, but we don't want to just generate leads for you. That's great, but we want to make sure they're relevant leads as well, so that the chance of you being able to then close that and do business with that consumer is that much higher. So we're not just, looking to make sure people are calling you. We want to make sure they're calling you and then booking your service, making that appointment, buying your product, whatever it may be. So that's really what we're trying to do.
Okay, Gretchen, thanks again for joining us today. Is there anything you want to kind of impart to folks on the way out the door? Any parting wisdom, just summing up today's topic about small business SEO?
Yeah. So, for small businesses, the thing that I think is the most important to keep in mind when you want to make sure that people can find you is that digital marketing is an ever-changing landscape. And you want to make sure that you're doing whatever you can to help your business show up whenever a consumer is doing a search that's relevant. And you want to make sure that not only are you showing, but you're giving that consumer enough information that they're going to want to click and call your business and then do business with you.
Gretchen, thanks again for being here with us today. If you found this episode informative, please make sure you subscribe so you don't miss one. If you have a moment, feel free to leave us a review, which really helps us out. And with that, this has been Small Business Small Talk, out.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Small Business Small Talk, powered by Hibu. Hibu is a leading provider of synchronized digital marketing for small businesses across America. With Hibu, you get all the digital marketing your business needs, all from a single provider, all working together to maximize results. Visit us today at hibu.com, Hibu, hibu.com.